Okay, hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So we are going to discuss everything that there is to know about the Accenture recruitment process for 2021 batch, right? So one thing first that I would like to tell you, we'll obviously be discussing the recruitment process. One important thing that I'd also like to tell you here is, I was previously working with Google. So I wanted to start Prep Insta, so I had to start this startup. So I had quit the job at Google. So briefly, for about some particular months, I was also working in Accenture as well after quitting my job there, and then in the transition period of wherein we were building Prep Insta in the meantime, right? So not just about the recruitment process, I'll tell you many good things about Accenture as well, how the company works, what is the inside information, how was my interview went, my interview was like in my time, right? So it's like many years back, but still, at least it would be somewhat the same, right? So without wasting any further time, let's begin with the Accenture recruitment process. Okay, so when we have to discuss about packages, so Accenture is coming at two different packages this year. The first one is 4.5 LPA, and that one is called as Associate Software Engineer. The other one is for 6.5 LPA, and that is just called as Software Engineer, right? And I'm sure about the compensation and everything you can see on the side by on the right hand side of mine. We break down that as fixed pay, variable pay, one-time joining bonus, and benefits, right? So fixed pay is basically whatever you get divided by 12 every month, right? Include, and there will be deduction in PF, but that would be very minor, right? Then variable pay would be 32,500, which would be based on your performance. It is paid once every 6 months. So 32,500 divided by 2, you will get maybe once in August and once in January. So when I was working, this was the cycle. So one time we got half the money in August, half the money in January. One time joining bonuses, as soon as you join Accenture, with the first month of your salary, you would be getting 25,000 rupees. So that is important. And 9,500 is what they are taking in gratuity. So same goes for 6.5 LPA, the number would be different. One thing more that I would like to highlight in here, the training of Accenture, if let's say COVID ends, in that case, it would happen in different cities. For some, it would happen in Gurgaon. For some, it would happen in Hyderabad. For some, it would happen in Bangalore, in the Accenture offices itself. So they have large auditoriums wherein they'll have all the people in different batches sit and then train you in those auditoriums, right? Now, one more important thing that I would like to mention here is, once you join Accenture, approximately 15 days of accommodation you will get in 5-star hotels, and that's a very great part. I really enjoyed that part when I was working in Accenture, and the food was awesome. There's unlimited free buffet in the breakfast, in the noon, and in the night. So that is something that is very good part of Accenture hiring, that okay, once you join them, 15 days that they call you for training. So they call you for training for 3 months, but in that first 15 days they're asking that okay, we'll give you accommodation. In the meantime, you try to figure out where you want to stay, and then obviously we've given you the joining bonus as well, right? So that's pretty much about it. Apart from that, uh, the transportation of Accenture is also free. So they have buses which are running from different places in the different city to their campuses. So this is a humongous cost. So I would say that in comparison to TCS, in comparison to Wipro, in comparison to Infosys, Accenture is a better company both in terms of packages and in terms of benefits as well. So when we quickly about the eligibility criteria, so 6.5 CGPA or 65% at the time of recruitment process, BTech/BE/MCA are eligible. After that, you have the maximum academic gap that you can have is 1 year. And post 10th, they are calculating that the PAN card of yours is mandatory. If you do not have PAN card, in that case, they are saying that okay, we'll not allow you to sit for the process. Maybe you can comment down something and we'll answer other ways, so that would be fine. Only select colleges which are partnered with Accenture are allowed for the recruitment. The recruitment is zonal level, so the result would be announced for North Zone, South Zone, East Zone. So you're not competing all over India just like TCS and QT. You're competing with your zone, right? The recruitment process is also very likely to happen in the late September and early October. So to talk about the recruitment process of Accenture, it is divided into 4 different stages. Stage 1 is cognitive and technical assessment. So which has, in cognitive they have quants, logical and English. In technical they have computer fundamentals and pseudocode. So we'll talk about that later in the video. Then the second stage is the coding round. Now, the results of stage 1 and stage 2 would be announced together. So if you don't clear stage 1 and stage 2, you are done. You will not be allowed to sit further in the process. So for the people who are clearing these 2 stages and the results of both are announced together, you will further have something called as stage 3, which would be a communication test. And it would be online, it would be on a tool. We'll talk about that a little later in the video. And then the final stage is the interview. Now, based upon your performance in stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 and stage 4, and most importantly the interviews as well, right? You would be offered a role of either 4.5 lakh or 6.5 lakhs, right? So it depends, right? So you have to perform equally well in all of them, right? So it is very, very important. I assume that, you know, approximately 10% of the people would be given 6.5 LPA package, and all the rest 90% of the people would be given the 4.5 lakh package. Okay, so the whole process is online first, so you can give the exam from home. The exam would be web proctored, so they would be checking your facial recognition, they would be checking your voice recognition, they even would be checking your iris, so if your eyes are moving left, right or not. And you know, so we are in touch with them, so we know about that. In Capgemini also, many people did not clear the rounds because, you know, their facial recognition and even their retina recognition had patterns. It's very easy for them to develop an AI that can check that, okay, on a regular pattern, your iris is moving left again and again, right? So the same thing would be happening here. So the test would be web proctor. The test is non-adaptive in nature, right? So that is one. The test would be conducted via CoCubes in the case. In some colleges, it is via VBox as well. In our online classes, we cover both of them, so you don't have to worry about it. So in terms of the sections, the cognitive assessment section. So a lot of people are, you know, confused about cognitive assessment. So essentially, cognitive assessment is nothing but quants, logical and English. That's it, right? So rather than calling quants, logic and English, they are merging it together and then they are calling it cognitive assessment. So in that, you would be having 50 questions and so they've not given the, you know, division between quants, logical and English, but what we've seen from the last time is approximately 15 questions each would be from quants and logical, and 20 questions would be from English. But then again, they may change it, right? It was there last year, but then again, the total questions are 50, right? After that, there is a technical assessment. So in the technical assessment, there are 2 parts. The first part being that you have computer fundamentals, and then the second part being you have pseudocode, right? And the total time is shared between cognitive assessment and technical assessment. So quants, logical, English, computer fundamentals, pseudocode, all of them combined in a non-adaptive way wherein you can switch between any section that you like, but the total time to solve 90 questions of these in any order that you like is 90 minutes, right? So once you complete that test, you're given a breathing time of 10 minutes, exactly 10 minutes, not even more than 10 minutes. After that, you would have your coding round. So in the coding round, the languages that they are allowing you are C, C++, C#, .NET, Python and Java, right? So these are all the languages that they are allowing you. So make sure that you know all of them. There would be 2 questions and 45 minutes to give them. Now, since the exam is conducted by CoCubes, the questions are repeated a lot. So we've seen that, you know, there are approximately 70 to 80 coding questions, and if you do all of them, both the coding questions are generally repeated directly in the exam, right? So in our online classes, we have all the coding questions for Accenture or for CoCubes that we are providing them. So in that case, you know, if you join a Prime Video courses for Accenture, so it means guaranteed success, at least in the coding round and even in the other rounds as well, right? So then there is communication test. So communication test we'll talk about, you know, when I'll be covering a little later part in the video. So the duration is approximately 20 minutes. There's no fixed time for it because communication test, there's no fixed time. It waits on you. So you have to complete it and then it will go to next part. Then you have to complete it, it will go to next part. And then finally there would be virtual interview wherein the duration would be 30 minutes and there would be 2 panel members. Now the point here is the duration is 30 minutes because they are hiring for a 6.5 LPA role. So you can think of it as they are doing a TCS digital type of hiring as well side by side. So which is why generally in previous years we had seen Accenture to conduct interviews which lasted 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but this time it's very long because they want to understand that are you capable enough for 6.5 LPA package or 4.5 LPA package or none, right? So we'll talk about that. So when we talk about the detailed syllabus for topic-wise syllabus for each of these sections, so we have profit and loss, ratio and proportion, logarithms, which is very important. Divisibility, you have equation, numbers and powers. You have geometry, that is very important. You have data interpretation. So these are the very important topics, and on my right hand side you will also see the other topics as well. So what you can do is you can take the screenshot or you can just visit to Accenture syllabus page, the link to give which is given in the description below, and then all the previous year papers of Accenture are on Prep and Star website. So we'll also give the link of that in the description of this video, right? So when we talk about the verbal English section, so you have sentence correction, grammar, prepositions, reading comprehension, synonyms, antonyms, idioms and phrases, speech tenses, articles, sentence selection, seating, sentence arrangement, spotting error. So in this case, the synonyms and antonyms and reading comprehension, we've particularly seen that, okay, there's a list of 200 words and synonyms, antonyms of the exam which are repeatedly asked again and again in CoCube/Accenture. So which is why we would recommend that, if you're part of the Prime video course for Accenture, so you'll anyways get that PDF, right? Apart from that, same goes with reading comprehension. There are approximately 40-50 reading comprehension questions which generally we've seen get repeated in the exam, right? So you'll get the same as well. So that's about verbal English. When I talk about the logical reasoning section, so you have blood relation, you have statements and conclusion, which is important, agree, disagree, directional sense, analogies, visual reasoning, which is, is not asked in many different exams, but is asked in CoCube or, Accenture. Then you have coding, decoding, logical sequence, and etc. etc. And obviously a few topics that you can see on the right hand side of my screen. Okay, so then when we talk about the technical assessment, which has 2 parts. So the computer fundamentals section is the first part, which will have 20 questions approximately. In that, so they are basically asking you basics of things, right? So for example, in that case, they would be asking you, basics of computer architecture. So basics of computer architecture is like LAN, WAN, 2-tier, 3-tier. So which everybody knows, like even mechanical people know, right? But if in case you don't know that, if in case these words that you LAN, WAN, 2-tier, 3-tier, ASDP and all of these words, if you don't know that, so in that case you need to be a little worried. So digital logic is a little thing. Networking concepts, they are asking you, what kind of different networks are there, like OSI layer, TCP IP and so on and so forth. So these are basics that even EC people know, but I'm sure mechanical people would not know it. Then MS Office, MS Word, Excel, spreadsheet, internet applications, AI and machine learning, basic full forms of things here and there. So these are the things, and small input output questions is what they'll be asking, right? So it's a very basic part of the exam where they are checking you that do you know how to operate a computer. Right, that's more or less the same thing. But then again, a lot of focus upon definitions, a lot of focus upon full forms of weird things that you don't know. Right. So coming to the second part of this video, you have pseudocode. So in the pseudocode, obviously there would be data structures questions. So you would have graphs, trees, linked list, arrays. That is one part of the pseudocode. The second part of the pseudocode would be actually the pseudocode, that is input output questions, which would be more or less based on C and C++ only. So make sure that you learn them. I would say pseudocode is the most important part, because the first section is relatively easy. The second section, as you would have all of you would have seen in Capgemini exam as well, pseudocode was really difficult for the second part, right? So make sure that you practice all the pseudocode questions. We have humongous amount of database for the exam of previous year, which we are giving in the prime mock and the prime video courses as well, so you can go ahead and join that. So that's would be one thing. Okay, so coming to the final part, so if you clear the previous two rounds, you go to communication test. So communication test would be a test wherein, in the front of the computer, they'll give you various tasks. So for example, they'll give you a reading comprehension, but unlike general reading comprehension, which you are reading, you would be hearing the reading comprehension. And based upon the hearing of the reading comprehension, you're supposed to answer a few questions which are followed after the reading comprehension is, after you've listened to the reading comprehension. That is one. The second part of it may be that, they'll give you a sentence, and then they'll ask you that, okay, only say the word or the part of the sentence that has an error. So basically, a English test, but rather than marking MCQs, you're supposed to pronounce it. You're supposed to say it. So here, there are various different tasks. In fact, there's one page about communication test which was last year conducted. So we are hoping that it's the same. So the rest exam is definitely via CoCubes, but in this case, because of virtual hiring, we think that the CoCubes may have changed a little bit of communication round itself this year. So which is why we are a little unsure. We are talking with them. We are partnered with CoCubes, obviously, right? So that's one thing that we'll check. So there's a page where you can find all the information. The link to that would be again in the description below. So there are certain points for each of them. So there are points for pronunciation. There are points for fluency. There are points for vocabulary. So this is an AI based system which understands, which converts your speech to text, and based upon that, it applies machine learning and AI and all the other things, right? So that is very important. Now, coming to the final part, that is interviews, right? So interview again would be 30 minutes. Now 30 minutes is what Accenture is saying is way too much as per Accenture. We've seen Accenture interview being for 10 minutes. If I tell you about my interview experience in Accenture, in my times when the package was 3.5 lakhs, and the only reason I was working in that particular company was because, I quit my job from Google, and in the meantime, I was a little unsure about my startup. So I joined it for a few months just to be a little sure about that, I have something in my hand at least. So there was a humongous decrease in package as well. So anyways, but I was asked this particular question. So what the interview saw was that I was eating a chewing gum while giving my interview. And that's really bad. So he asked me this question, and I feel that he was very genuine here. He asked me questions that, okay, tell me 5 good things about eating a chewing gum and 5 bad things about it. So I actually told him that, okay, for the people who are smokers, it stops giving you bad breath, it keeps your teeth white, it keeps your gum healthy. Bad things are, a lot of people swallow it and it harms them. A lot of people spit the chewing gum into the urinals, which somebody else has to clean. A lot of birds also eat these chewing gum thinking these are worms, and then they die. So, there are like 2 other points. It's like 5 years back from now. So then again, if you see, and that's it. This was my interview and I was selected. I think I was only selected based upon the valid points that I gave and the communication that I had. Else, I would have had been completely rejected for eating chewing gum in the interview. But then again, Accenture really focuses upon communication. So that is one takeaway. The second thing is the recruitment process that was back then 5 years ago is not there anymore. Now these companies are focusing a lot upon skills as well as communication as well. So you would definitely be asked, so since it's a 6.5 lakh package, so you'd be asked questions about data structures. You'd be asked questions about DBMS. You'd be asked questions about basic software development basically software development, SDLC, right? You'd be asked questions about C and C++. So one procedural language, one object-oriented language. And for all the things that I've mentioned, including DBMS and DSA, Accenture will not, do partiality that, okay, you are a mechanical student, you are applying for Accenture, that too for 6.5 LPA package. You should know DBMS. If in case you do not know DBMS, that's not their problem. right? Because you are applying to an IT based company. So again, you should know DSA, you should know C, you should know C++. One more thing is, in my time also and now also, approximately 20% of the weightage was given to certifications in the interview. Do you have certifications? So that is important. So for non-CSIT people, I will say have certifications in C, C++, or Java or Python for basics, and then data structures like intermediary. For C and C++, for CS and IT people, that's very basic. You need to have certification in them first, 100%. Then you also need to have certifications in artificial intelligence, web development, Android, and all of those. And those should be good certification, not Udemy certifications. Udemy certifications are not valued, right? Also, free Coursera certifications are not valued. The free Coursera certificates that the college is like, okay, give it, and then it's random. So Udemy and Coursera certificated are not valued. Coursera certifications that are paid 20,000-30,000 certifications look different, and they mention that okay, it's a proper certification course. The free certification course, HRs know that okay, as look at this free certification, he like watched 20 hours of video and that's it. He doesn't know anything, right? So that's very important there. Certification C, C++, Python, if you know Python, data structures, DBMS, software development lifecycle. So that's all of these are very important. So that's what's totally was about Accenture recruitment process. How do you prepare for it? So what we've done here is the same pattern was last year. So there were only minor changes in the Prime Video courses of Accenture from last year or this year, right? We have more database, we have more questions, we have more coding questions and all of them. So you know it's become better from last year definitely. So you can go ahead and buy a Prime Video course for Accenture. There would be a coupon code that would be constantly displayed in the video. So you can go ahead and buy that. Or you can go ahead with the Prime mock course if you don't want to prepare with videos but just want to practice the previous year papers. So that is one. Apart from that, then a lot of people know that okay, Accenture is coming, then Infosys will come, then Capgemini will come, then TCS will come. So you're like, okay, Prep and Star, do you want me to buy individual online classes for each of them? And to them we say no. You can go ahead and buy a Royal Pass. And with the Royal Pass, essentially the cost is approximately 4,444. We'll be increasing it sometime later. But with that, everything that is there on Prep Insta, that is C, C++, Python, nano degree courses wherein you are getting certifications, AMCAT, CookCube, Zlitmus, that also, DSA as well, resume making, interview preparation as well. Then all the company specific online classes like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, Cognizant, Accenture, Amazon, and all of these online classes are going to be there. We'll also be including competitive programming and artificial intelligence / machine learning and web development in the next 2 months as certification courses completely as well. So along with that, you will get the same thing. So it depends. If you just simply want to prepare for Accenture, go ahead with the Prime Video courses. Or if you just want to prepare for different multiple companies, we'll suggest that okay, you can go ahead with the Royal Pass. So that's pretty much about it. Also, one more thing is what we generally do is every video we try to help 3 people who have the best doubts, who have the best comments about Prep Insta, about how we've helped you and how maybe some very genuine doubt about Accenture recruitment process, which we forgot to cover in this video. So these 3 people we give our Prime Video courses, whichever they want, completely free. So you can go ahead and comment our question. Our team will definitely get in touch with you. We'll just reply to your comment and then we'll ask you to email us. So that's pretty much about it. All the very best. Accenture is an amazing company. With my short duration when I was working in Accenture, so I was working on Prep Insta to be honest, but then again, I was working with Accenture side by side. A startup takes a few months to build, right? So it's a very amazing company. I really loved. I was working in the Bangalore office for a US based project. I hope that you'd also love it there, and thank you all of you. Hope that you get selected in Accenture.